Okay, so you got your big old black case all modified, ready to go, and now you need something to stick in it. So you got your Prius battery, and you're going to start taking parts out of it. You're going to need these 4 tubes. You're going to need all the little bolts that hold the batteries in place. And let's see where we go from there. All right, first of all, see this? I have it on backwards. See that big gap? I've got this on backwards. I got to flip it around. So make sure you do that right. The bolts should be flush like that, not sticking out like that. Okay, so this black piece has a piece of metal welded on it when you take it out of the Prius battery pack. See these holes here? That's the air going in. That means this is the front of the car. That means that's the back of the car. That's the passenger side. This is the driver's side. This is the side that has the big power head bolted onto your battery case with all those relay stuff. So this is the side that we want the metal piece welded on these 2 black things to be on. And on your Prius battery, it may be up. If it is, flip it over when you put it on here and stick it down between the batteries. You could just cut it off and get rid of it, but you know what? It keeps this from turning when you're tightening the bolts up and down, so leave it on there. If you leave it up in the air, it'll hit the top of your case. These need to be trimmed to 15.5 inches. So take the top 2, cut them down to 15.5 inches, and you're going to have to get a metric tap and tap it for these threads because there won't be any threads in there. The one on the back bottom, cut it as well to 15.5 inches. Do not cut the front one yet. The front one's special. So you'll have 3 of these cut to 15.5 inches. So let's see. You've got your clamps. You got three of your clamp poles at 15.5 inches. You've tapped that, and you've tapped the third one down there. So you're pretty good to go here. Now you need a way to keep the batteries together. Hold on a second. Okay, this is where it starts getting fun. This, again, is the front of the car. And you can see there's our other 15.5 incher, but we're missing one. That's because we have to take one end and cut it off, take the other end with threads on it, cut it off, and get rid of all that right there, because we got to use aircraft cable because our airflow is coming in this way and it would be blocked. And what I didn't do was measure this to tell you how long that is. But guess what? It's 1, 2, 2.5 batteries, okay, in length. Again, this is the power head side, and when you look at these rods on the bottom, they've got a special fitting on them. See that? That's why we made that the power head side, because when you bolt these on, they're not going to spin on you. That one's going to spin. That one is. This one won't because it's anchored in right here. That's going to spin. We got to use needle nose pliers to tighten it up, but that's why you want to make sure you have the fittings on the power head driver side when you do this. Again, this is 15.5 inches. Didn't measure it, but this one's 2 3/4. Not critical. 2 3/4 batteries wide. That's how long this should be. This one down here is even a little bit shorter. It's 2 batteries wide. Okay. This is a piece of stainless steel aircraft cable. It's not picture wire. I think I got it from Aircraft Spruce, but I have a swaging tool, which is this stuff here, and it has a big metal piece right there as a guide. Okay. And I actually made these. Now, if you're trying to figure out where in the world you're going to get that, experimental aviation people, hunt around in your community, find these guys. They build their own airplanes. They have swaging tools. They have the cable. One of them will make this thing for you, okay? But again, we did this because we've got to have airflow. Now, this is, I'm going to tell you to use 1/8 inch thick, 1 inch by 1 inch aluminum. It's, I wrote it down, 17 3/8 inch. I think it's 17 3/8 inch long. It needs to go to right here at the end of the clamps. Okay, so whatever that ends up being, you don't need any sticking out anywhere. But it's 1 by 1, and I think it's 9/16 of an inch long here. So we're going to cut it. It can't stay up at 1 because the top of the battery, this tube, your vents won't hit, but your tube will. So it's going to get cut to 9/16. It'll be 1 inch here where your battery bolts go. It'll be 9/16 here. And I think that's probably close to what this is. This is probably close to 9/16 right there, see? I originally made this to try to slide the whole thing through while it was assembled. That doesn't work. Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a second. So that's not critical that it's the same as this. It needs to be 9/16. Okay, this up here, this will be 1 inch when you start. These are 9/16 inch holes, okay? So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna first, on both these pieces of angle, you're gonna use your Prius case as a template for where all these bolts need to go. And you'll see that the angle is flush with the battery, okay? So get all these holes done for your batteries, okay, on both sides. Then after you get that done, what you want to do is you want to get this hole where the crack in the batteries are, okay? So how many holes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20 batteries. That means there's 19 cracks. You need 19 holes. Okay, so what you do is, before you cut this 1 inch off here, you drill these 9/16 inch holes. And some of them are going almost right to the top here. Matter of fact, almost all of them are, but you should leave just a tad bit of room down here because you're going to cut this. So anyhow, you get those 19 9/16 holes done, then you cut this off 9/16 right here. Okay, and that's how you get the bat wing. We need this little bit sticking down here to provide support so the bat so it doesn't sag. It's not real strong. You could probably do 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be 9/16 if you want these to be a little bit bigger down here. Once you get these 4 things cut, this thing swaged, these drilled and cut, and all that done, you've done the majority of the hard work to get this thing going. So again, this is the power head side, the driver's side of the battery. And you'll notice that what I've done here is I've left this little piece sticking out. This prevents the battery from going through the case. Same thing on this side. On the other side, I cut them off because I'd planned to try to just assemble it and push it through the case, and it just doesn't work. I would have to trim off more here, there, and everywhere. So what I do instead is I take this clamp off. Then on the driver's side, I push the entire battery through the black case. It has all the wires attached at that point. You're just ready to slap it together, put the power head on, and drop it in the car, okay? So at this point, we take that end off, push the whole thing through the case. It can't go any farther than here because this hits. So that keeps this from going through the case. When the power head's bolted on, that keeps it from coming back this way, and the entire battery is secured. Then we sit here and fight to get this thing back on. It's not too bad. The aircraft cable's the worst part because now you have the black battery case. So you got to reach up in here with some needle nose, vice grips, and hold on to the little metal thing, get that started. That's probably the hardest part. Then you just clamp it all back down. Again, at that point, all of our wiring's hooked up, and it's all hanging out here, and we got to do our power head thing, which is a whole nother part here. You got to do some stuff with the power. You got to do a lot of stuff with the power head to make the wiring work. But we're reusing all the Prius wiring, and at that point, this thing will be hanging out. This is your Honda wire that you're going to hook up for your BCM. Not your BCM, for your thermistors and your PTC strips if you did them. I have a whole video about the PTC strips. I wouldn't do them. I just use a resistor and bypass them. You don't need them. I don't need them. Do you need them? I don't know. I'm not your lawyer. What is the PT strip for? A lot of people don't understand it. It starts here. It's U-shapes, one big long piece. I think it's 11 feet long. I had to custom make it using the PT strips from the old Insight batteries. Here's the other end of it. If I put an ohm meter on here, I'd have so much resistance. The way these work is you can pick any tiny part of this 11-foot long thing and heat it up with a match, and it'll change the resistance of this thing and say a battery's overheating. So that's what it's for. It's touching all 6 cells of all 20 batteries. If any one of them gets hot, then it'll trip your IMA and shut your battery pack down. So it's an important safety thing to consider putting in there. That's up to you. I'll just quickly tell you that each stick of your old batteries has that mylar on it. You got to cut that off, pull that off. That's covered in plastic. You got to get all the plastic off of it. Then it's a whole bunch of little 3-inch pieces soldered together. And you leave them soldered together. You unsolder some, resolder some, and you make U-shapes. You could make one big long 11-foot thing, be a real pain in the ass to work. Instead, what I did was I made U-shapes and put female terminals on them that just happen to plug right into the, I didn't actually put male terminals on there, I don't think. I just plug them right into the PTC strips. I never take these apart once they're done. So really, once you get the battery assembled with these, there's no reason to take them apart because you can get the batteries in and out once you spread the case a little bit. You don't have to mess with the unhooking them and all that stuff. So theoretically, you could make it 11 foot long, and if you can fight and get it in there the first time, then you're good to go. I chose to do it this way. If I made another one of these, I wouldn't use the PT strips. I'd put a resistor on there, fool the system, and do away with them. You don't need to make the case any bigger or smaller for using the PTC strips. The only other thing I'll say in case you don't see my other video is if you use them, they have to be strategically located at this line right here. You don't want them up too high, they'll short. And you can't go any lower because there's nubs on the batteries to allow them to connect together and it'll interfere. So it's got to be